They're licensed professionals that read the trade law and they make these determinations and they figure out what things are classified and how. So we have a system where we manage the product master data, like looks at the whole supply chain, and it goes through all that reasoning of how things should be classified and which tariffs apply under what valuation rules, and it's going over hundreds of pages of underlying text and so on and so forth. Now, the reason I bring it up is two points. It's turning the customs brokers who are still in the loop, right? They are our customers, right? We work with some of the biggest retailers, the biggest logistics companies in the world. It's turning them into managers and not knowledge workers.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a trend. I think the other thing that this surfaces is the law says that a licensed customs broker must be the final sign-off on one of these determinations. And so the system we've designed necessarily puts the ultimate decision. Now they can bulk select and based on the confidence just kind of attest to it, but it still puts the human in the decision-making loop because the law says so. Mm-hmm. But all that work, with few exceptions, where it's asking questions of a human here or there, all that work is just happening under the hood. So the product experiences we're building around agents are increasingly putting the user in the role of manager of knowledge work and not the doer of the knowledge work.
Interesting. Secretary, you wanted to?
Yes, going back to your point about regulations, these regulations that have been in the books for so long, we are still following, as a country, labor laws that were made in 1934. And talk about overtime and definitions as to who gets overtime. There's actually rules about key punch operators, that they are exempt workers.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what happens is that the regulations are not aligned. And so that's going to slow down the transformation. And also the silos and the current organizational pillars that we have, and also fragmentation of the databases. Because you get superpower from the conglomeration of this tremendous database, but what happens if they're still fragmented? And lastly, as we all know, is there are institutional organizations that are very concerned about protecting their workers from certain infringements. So we have to bring them along as well, and that's why it's going to take time. Yeah. And that's why whatever we do, number one, we'll have time. Number two, we have to do it carefully. Because there's so much we don't know, and that's just what I'm concerned about, is that we act too quickly, and we don't know what we don't know, and then implement regulations or whatever that actually harm the development.
So I'm going to turn to some of the questions. So we've got some great questions, and this is, referring back to, you were talking, Catherine, about the idea of doing more around physical work.
Yeah.
And so this question is, if we automate thinking jobs, thinking and doing jobs, are we prepared for the backlash? I mean, I don't think we can not try and apply technologies like AI to things like manufacturing, though, right?
Oh no, and I think when we talk about automation, I think sometimes people think that humans are going to be completely removed from the calculus. And I think one of the companies that I work very closely with, Hadrian, is a perfect example of bringing automation into a machine shop to build critical aerospace and defense parts. You'll hear from Chris today, but it's a good example of it's actually a workforce development to have AI enabling a human. So it used to be that you'd have to study as an apprentice under a skilled machinist for 3 years to be able to machine an aerospace part that goes on a starship. Now you can do it for 30 days. And Chris has many examples of people he's brought in from Chipotle or former school bus drivers who've learned how to machine a part in 30 to 60 days because the artificial intelligence and the software they've built is so critical to how the factory runs. And so I think we're going to see more and more of that. When we talk about complete automation or bringing automation into these industries, the human's always going to be incredibly necessary. These are very complex, and I think in some ways,